mynews.studio.
A pill that could put aggressive leukemia into remission. What does this really mean for people facing cancer?
Today is July 30th, 2025. Let's set the scene. Leukemia, which is cancer of the blood and bone marrow, has always been tough to treat, especially when it comes back after therapy. For decades, the numbers haven't moved much. Why is this breakthrough different?
For a long time, patients who relapsed had almost no options left. Now, though, there are new therapies, like blinatumomab, a bispecific T-cell engager. It basically helps the patient's own immune system find and attack leukemia cells. In a recent nationwide trial, survival rates for high-risk acute lymphoblastic leukemia went up by nearly 10%. That kind of increase is rare in cancer medicine.
10% may not sound like a lot at first glance, but in cancer care, that can mean thousands of lives every year. Now, about the pill you mentioned, are you talking about an oral therapy here?
Yes, revumenib is the first oral therapy shown to work for patients with aggressive, treatment-resistant leukemia, especially those with what's called a KMT2A translocation. Those patients usually don't respond to standard treatments. With revumenib, not only did some patients go into remission, but a few were able to get stem cell transplants that could be curative.
So instead of recurring rounds of chemotherapy, some patients could just take a pill and possibly reach remission?
For this specific genetic subtype, yes. There's also another targeted drug, ziftomenib, a menin inhibitor, that's shown strong, lasting responses in acute myeloid leukemia patients with NPM1 mutations. That's a group that's never had targeted options before. The FDA even gave it breakthrough therapy designation, so it's being reviewed quickly.
Can we pause on the science? How do these drugs actually work? What's allowing them to succeed where others didn't?
Blinatumomab works a bit like a bridge. It connects T cells, your immune cells, to leukemia cells, basically forcing the immune system to attack. Revumenib and ziftomenib, on the other hand, block specific proteins that leukemia cells need to survive, but only in certain genetic subtypes. That's what's meant by precision medicine, tailoring drugs to the genetic profile of a patient's cancer.
Are we seeing this kind of progress in immunotherapies as well? What's happening with CAR T therapy?
CAR T therapies, where doctors engineer a patient's own T cells to attack cancer, are being improved to cut down on side effects and to include more patients. There are new versions in trials designed to be safer and more widely available, even for people who relapse after standard CAR T.
But what about access? These treatments sound expensive and complicated. When might patients outside the U.S. actually benefit?
Blinatumomab and revumenib are approved by the FDA and available in the U.S., and there are global trials underway. Ziftomenib still under review. But in lower-income countries, access is still behind. High costs, limited healthcare infrastructure, and the need for advanced genetic testing are all big hurdles.
Are major health groups stepping in to help close that gap? Is there any actual movement?
Yes, there are international collaborations starting, and tiered pricing models are being discussed. Some global health organizations are working to bring clinical trials and better infrastructure to more places. But it's slow going. The difference in access is still pretty stark.
Switching topics for a second, does this progress in leukemia influence research in other cancers? Does it set a kind of precedent?
It definitely does. When therapies succeed in leukemia, it draws more attention and funding for similar approaches in other cancers. Both targeted therapies and immunotherapies like CAR T are now in trials for solid tumors and other blood disorders.
And what about patients and advocacy groups? Is their involvement one reason things are moving faster?
Patient advocacy has been key. These groups raise money, push for faster access, and even help design and recruit for clinical trials. Plus, international research collaborations, sharing data across borders, really speeds up the process. Larger multi-center trials can get results and regulatory approvals much faster.
In the end, this isn't just about new medicines. It's about changing what's possible for people facing a difficult diagnosis.
Right. For the first time, many leukemia patients have a real chance. not just at remission, but at a cure. And these advances could change cancer care beyond blood cancers.
We've talked about new therapies, the science behind them, and the ongoing challenges with access and cost. And we looked at how these breakthroughs might shape the future of cancer care.
That's it for today's episode. From lab breakthroughs to global impact, these new leukemia treatments are reshaping the future of cancer medicine.
Thank you for listening. This episode was powered by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.